Near mint condition, the home of collected editions. Oh my gosh, look at that panel of Batman. You have the absolute, you have the deluxe. DC Comics firing on all cylinders. The Absolute Universe continues from DC Comics. This time around, I, the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions, am going to be talking about Absolute Wonder Woman, Volume 1, the last Amazon hardcover from DC Comics. So, let's talk about this book together. Welcome back, everybody. So, DC All In. This is the latest Absolute Universe title to come out in a collected edition, that is Wonder Woman. Last week, I did Absolute Batman, and I could not wait to run down here and shoot this video. I just finished reading it, and I decided, let's go ahead while it's still fresh on the mind and talk about Absolute Wonder Woman. So, we have this beautiful cover here by Hayden Sherman and Jordie Bellaire, with Diana and Pegasus above Gateway City. Beautiful piece. I have been intrigued by this book just when I saw this and the character designs, and I'm like, oh man, that's got like a heavy metal vibe to it. But that's the story. Well, we'll find out here in a second. The Last Amazon, Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman, Mattia De Julis, and Jordie Bellaire. And then the spine of the book, much like the Absolute Batman spine, where they don't have a volume number here. Absolute Wonder Woman, The Last Amazon, Thompson, Sherman, De Julis, and Bellaire, and the DC logo. And then the back of the book, where you do have the volume number. Volume 1, she's still the Absolute Amazon. While I have this here, I did want to show you how it will look next to the other Absolute book, and that is Absolute Batman the Zoo, Volume 1, and then we have a Superman book coming out next week. So both of these are standard size hardcovers. They are also available in trade paperbacks. As a matter of fact, the standard size hardcovers, as I've shown with the Absolute Batman release, are the size of trade paperbacks. If you just look at the trim size of the pages, it's the exact same size. It just looks a little taller and longer because it's a hardback. So let's actually take the dust jacket off, and we have this beautiful piece by, again, Hayden Sherman, and then Diana with her giant sword, Diana going up Mount Prometheus, and then this piece, the art on board, the spine looking a little different. It's missing the actual red rectangle there, which again is just something that they do like for the design of the book, like the framing of these Absolute titles. Thompson, Sherman, De Julis, and Bellaire, and then the logo, Absolute Wonder Woman. So we are going to open this book up, talk about the stories found in here, and check out this beautiful artwork and look at the extras and build. Alright, let's go ahead and get this opened. You have your black end sheets, Absolute Wonder Woman Volume 1, The Last Amazon. And that is a picture of Diana holding Nemesis. I love the fact that she names all of her weapons. It just adds so much to the book that I didn't think it would. But when you find out what the story is and what her background is, it all makes sense. Volume 1, The Last Amazon. Kelly Thompson, of course, writing the story. Hayden Sherman doing the art for the first 5 issues. Mattia De Julis is the artist on the last 2 issues collected in here. Jordie Bellaire, the colorist for Hayden Sherman. Becca Carey, the lettering here. And kicking it off with Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 1, which is the cover that they're using for this collection here. So collected in here is Absolute Wonder Woman 1 through 7. The book has a total of 208 pages and retails for $24.99 for the hardcover and $17.99 for the trade paperback. Variant covers are found on the opposite side of the standard edition cover. Starting in Gateway City, and before I even start this, spoilers for the pitch for the first couple of issues, and then a little bit about issues 6 and 7 found in here. So it all starts in present day in Gateway City, where this unidentified flying object is just floating all over the city, over the beach. And then a bunch of creatures start coming down and attacking humanity. One of the people here that is watching will become an important player in the story. And we'll find out who that is here in a little bit. I promise to go back to her. Then we see this weird looking warrior right here that's straight out of a heavy metal magazine cover that has this pouch, and out of this pouch she brings out this giant sword and is able to slash away at these creatures. And at first she's speaking in a foreign tongue and she looks like she's doing some kind of ritual here, and then eventually she starts speaking in English. So, Absolute Wonder Woman, The Last Amazon, Part 1 of 5. I love that this is like a movie title right there. Then we have a flashback. Years ago, the Wild Isle of Hell. So, in this island is where the witch Circe was sent for some kind of sentence. We don't find out exactly why yet. But Apollo approaches her and gives her this child right here. So she was in the middle of just getting a bunch of material for some kind of witchcraft that she was doing. But Apollo interrupts and gives her a child. And he says that this is Diana, Princess of Themyscira. She is the last of the Amazons, and she's been taken from them by my father, Zeus, as punishment for their crimes against gods. And there's a lot of that here. So, at first, Circe's like, what am I gonna do with this? Like, this is so weird. But she ends up falling in love with this kid. She kind of lets nature take its course to see how well the kid will survive. And sure enough, the kid does an amazing job at not only surviving, but also making friends with her enemies. And there's just so many beautiful lessons that are taught here through the very beginning that will come to play later on in the main story and present day. So we do have flashbacks of her just getting older and as a father of 2 teenage girls. All of this, how fast it goes, Christ almighty, I don't know how many people told me how fast time goes. Like, it's a skip. It's like that. Time is a thief. And it is broken down and done so eloquently like this in just different panels, going to bed, telling her stories, teaching her witchcraft too, and how to use some of the tools that she's been given, how to use some of the weapons that she's been given. And it's just beautifully orchestrated by not only Thompson, but also Sherman and Belair. And I do have to give credit to the letterer, Becca Carey, because the placement of the word balloons and the sound effects are just perfect. Okay, so back to present day in Gateway City, where she approaches the military. Now she knows English. She's speaking English to them, and she is telling them that this is nothing but a harbinger wave. So all these creatures that are attacking are kind of the messengers for something big that is to come. And we think it's this creature here, but this is actually the Harbinger Prime. So this is also a messenger for something even bigger. And she is able to fight this monster on her own with the help of Pegasus right there. And we see what kind of ability she has. And again, there's all kinds of rituals. She's wearing all these markings. And we keep going back. And the entirety of the book is about these flashback lessons back on the Wild Isle in Hell, where Circe is just teaching her to become a woman and to kind of do things in her own way. And we find out that Circe was cursed at the very beginning, that she can't even say the word Amazon. Like Apollo like forbids her to say the word Amazon, so it's kind of blacked out whenever she says Amazon. But that is the one word that Diana had to learn, and what it means to be an Amazon. And that's where the first issue ends, when you find out who she is and the title that she has earned. She is Diana of Themyscira, last of the Amazons, daughter of Circe, princess of hell, witch of the Wild Isle, and you will not have this world while I still draw breath. And she has summoned Nemesis here, which is her lasso. Unlike the lasso of truth, Nemesis was actually made of blood and bone and sacrifice, and everything in here is all about that. How magic has a price. And you find out the price by either a flashback or by just Diana telling you. Now, I said I was going to talk about the first couple of issues. In the second issue, one of the military men approaches her, and it turns out to be none other than Steve Trevor. And Steve Trevor is very much like his counterpart in every incarnation of Wonder Woman, where he ends up in an island, this time around in hell, not Themyscira, where he thinks he's dead, and he's approached by Diana. And it's not really romantic love, but it's her love of just everything that is living. As we found out earlier, she has respect for every living creature. She doesn't want to kill. So she feels that kind of respect for him. She's never seen man before, so she approaches Circe, and he thinks, what am I doing here? How did I end up in hell? And in order to get her out, in order to get Steve Trevor out of hell, there comes a price. There comes a sacrifice. And I don't want to reveal what that is, but it really shows you just what she is willing to do for a stranger because of that love that she has. I think that's one of the most wonderful traits about her. So let's skip a little bit through here and show off some of this art. Now, I promised I would go back and talk about the young lady that made a cameo in that first issue, and that turns out to be Barbara Minerva. Again, another character that has appeared in since the post-crisis on Infinite Earths story with George Perez, and has had a different incarnation. And this time around, she is a scientist too that has studied a lot of Greek and a lot of different just history over the world. And she's the very first one that calls her Wonder Woman. And there's a reason for that, and that will come to play later on. And then we meet a couple of sisters that will become a big part of the story too, and that is Etta Candy and Gia Candy. Etta, another character that has appeared in the many different incarnations of Wonder Woman. And I love what Wonder Woman does to help humanity against this giant creature that finally comes for her. And it's just such a badass type of sacrifice, and I didn't see it coming. And that's what I love about this book. That's what I love about the story. Even though it has this badass, like, heavy metal, this is gonna knock your socks off, there is a lot of hope and love in this story that has, don't get me wrong, it still has that mix of holy crap, that is badass, heavy metal, will knock your socks off type of story. But also, oh my gosh, everything that Wonder Woman says, Diana, Wonder Woman, it gives me hope. And it's so loving, and it comes from a genuine place of love that she doesn't want to harm anybody, no matter what. That's what you find in the first 5 issues, that what she's willing to sacrifice, what she is willing to become in order to win the fight. And it is just amazing, absolutely amazing. And the artwork is just stellar, easy to follow. It's got that, holy crap, video game, anime, indie style, while also mainstream style of art that it just works. Hayden has come a long way from their days of that indie style that they had in the pages of Wasted Space. And I love that book. Absolutely love that book. But here, this is another level. Now, the last 2 issues, Wonder Woman is actually dragged to the underworld. So she is now in the presence of Hades, where Hades has a few words to say to her, and also has a challenge for her. And again, this is one of those stories that goes back to a series of flashbacks that teaches you where perhaps the story is going. So he's wondering about the lasso, how she ended up getting Nemesis, and what the sacrifices were. And then he tells her that he has captured Circe, and she has a choice to make. And again, this all goes back to a story. Oh my gosh, The Lady or the Tiger. This is so awesome. It is a flashback of Circe reading to Diana a story about a woman that was in love, and the man she was in love with wasn't worthy of her father's permission. So her father sent him to the arena. The king kind of gave him a choice. There's 2 doors. Behind a door is a happy, I guess he called it kind of like a long and happy life, and the other door was certain death. What the princess learned was the long and happy life, behind that door was a woman that he was in love with before the princess. So it is now up to the princess to decide to help him decide which door to go through. And that story comes to play, and it teaches you just who Diana is as a character and how different of a character she is because of her upbringing. I think it goes without saying, much like Absolute Batman, that this is out of continuity. You don't need to have read anything before, and I talked about different incarnations of these characters, but you don't need to know any of that. You don't even need to have watched the movie. This is a different Wonder Woman, a Wonder Woman that was raised in hell. We don't know her true origin yet. We don't know who her parents are. There's still a lot of mystery as to why she ended up there, what the sin was, what Cersei was doing down there. But my gosh, it is absolutely rocking. Heavy metal, love, and hope. I guess that's the best way I can use those words to describe this book. There are no other words. It is just absolutely terrific, and I could not put it down. And as soon as I finished reading it, I was like, I gotta go down there, and I gotta make sure I do this overview justice without giving too much spoilers. But that's the setup for the first 7 issues. I did hear, let's look at the extras, by the way. Oh, I forgot to mention that after the main story arcs are done, in the back we are greeted by some cute little stories called Little Diana. These are all drawn by Dustin Nguyen and Becca Carey doing the lettering. And they're just little one-pagers talking about her youth, mainly with her love of just creatures and how she can't say no to anybody. And then the variant cover gallery. So I did hear that there is finally going to be a crossover between some Absolute characters. I don't know who yet because I wait for trade. So cool. This still feels like it's its own little pocket universe. There is a foreshadowing when they say of heroes to come. They're not just talking about her, but perhaps other heroes as well. Man, that is killer. But yeah, apparently there's going to be a tie-in, or I'm sorry, a crossover between 2 of these Absolute heroes. Cannot wait to read that either. 208 pages. Let's look at this binding. It is glued binding, just like Absolute Batman. So there is, you can see here, the gutter loss happening. Just like there are some gutter losses in the spread pages. And there's beautiful detailed pages like this. And printed in this satin type of paper stock. Not like the glossy, high gloss paper stock, nor the matte paper stock, but that in between that they were using for Omnis for about a year is what this is printed on. But that's it. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this hardcover or the softcover format, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this hardcover. In the comments down below, let me know if you are just impatient and have to pick this up. You're not gonna wait for the absolute Wonder Woman, you know. Yeah, I know. I've heard all the jokes. I think, actually, when I interviewed Sean Gordon Murphy, we made jokes about it when we heard about the Absolute Universe. How confusing that's going to be called. It would be funny if they call it something else, though, if they call the Absolute line something else. Anyway, doesn't matter. If you can't wait for the Omnibus, if you can't wait for the Deluxe Edition, if you can't wait for an Absolute Edition, you gotta read it now. Probably reading it in single issues, so more power to you. But if you're picking this up, and what you think of the story, and what your favorite Absolute comic is. I've heard a lot of love for this, and Absolute Superman, and Absolute Martian Manhunter, but let me know in the comments down below. But that's it, everybody. Thank you for watching. Check us out on Patreon and Spreadshop, amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. I'm out of here. That, as they say, wait, no, I did that earlier. Much love.